MIL wasn't prepared for someone fired in the forge of manipulative family. I posted last week about finding out my husband and I were secretly excluded from the family Christmas because we didn't invite a stranger to our wedding over 2 years ago. I deleted it out of panic because the attention was way more than I expected and it was too identifying, but I mentioned finally getting to stand up to her via phone call, and some of you asked to post it. I'll try, and fail, to keep this brief while still providing the good bits. So, backstory. Husband is scapegoat. Bill is golden child. I'm the youngest of several with a wonderful mother who gave me the backbone she never had. Growing up with my father's family meant manipulation, scheming, and triangulation like you wouldn't believe. Husband's family just have MIL, and they tend to enable or ignore her. Needless to say, MIL expected kid gloves out of me. Me, the woman who blocks family members easily. A hilarious thought because part of the reason my husband loves me is I'm fiery. Well, not so much fiery as on fire most of the time. He's the calm one. MIL calls. Husband decides to talk about how upset he is about Christmas. I'm hanging nearby when DH says, "Hold on," walks into the room, and says, "Do you want to talk to her?" She did ask how you feel about it. For the first time in my 35 years of life, I understand a religious calling. He's always handled his own family, to the point I've been jumping up and down going, "Tag me in, coach. I've been training my whole life." 20 years of this woman's manipulation. DH and I have known each other since we were pre-teens, and for the first time, I get to say how I feel. And Emile was not prepared for me. I jump on the phone call and immediately clarify that I know she tried lying about our wedding, saying we needed someone to serve food, just to find out later the caterer was the stranger we already said wasn't invited. She didn't have an answer for that. I asked her why it was okay they had a whole family party without us, and she said, "It was Christmas." "Oh, so it's okay to exclude us on Christmas so you can have a better one?" That's not what I said. You literally just said you excluded us for Christmas because it was Christmas, one of the few holidays we even spend with you in the first place. You just said it was okay because it was Christmas. Emile started crying. I told her to feel her feelings, but this conversation was happening. Tears dried up. Emile said she didn't understand why I was being so mean. I told her that hearing things you don't like doesn't automatically make it mean, but she can feel that way if she wants to be a victim. She practically snarled, "I'm not a victim." I replied, "Good, so we agree I'm not being mean to you." Silence. She tried saying I wouldn't understand because I'm not a mother. I said I partially agree, which is why I call my own mother, who has 3x the kids she has. My mother told me she'd be damned if one kid hosted Christmas and demanded everyone exclude another child because of a mild offense. Silence. She tried telling me the stranger, Bill's literally brand new GF, was offended I didn't invite her to the wedding. I said, who cares? We've known each other for 20 years. My husband and I were getting married after 8 years together. She should have been on our side if she was going to pick one. More silence. I've been crying about this for 2 weeks. If you're confused about this one, since this is the first conversation about it, I was too, until she said BIL was engaged. I said, "Oh, I get it. BIL got engaged 2 weeks ago. That's why you've been crying. I'm scared you won't go to the wedding." "I'm not going. DH can go. I'm not going to the wedding of our best man who stood us up an hour before the ceremony. I was calling my son to tell him his brother is engaged and they need to fix this." Excuse me? BIL got engaged and didn't tell his brother, and that's on DH. It's on DH to call his brother and ask what's up instead of his brother doing it for once. I don't know how to fix this. Well, I suggest you brainstorm, because we didn't cause this problem. We didn't even know it was a problem for 2 years, and we are not putting the work in to fix it ourselves. Can you hand me back to DH? I said sure, and immediately handed the phone back. I'm not a monster. She went to change the subject, and I yelled, "Don't let her distract you. She likes doing that." And Mael got all snotty and said, "Does Pickler know I can hear every word she says?" And my wonderful husband replied, "Yeah, I definitely married the right person." It's so strange, guys. We haven't heard from MIL in 2 weeks. I wonder why that is. Daughter finally met J and MIL's side of family, and it didn't go as J and MIL wanted. For those that have been following along, we had my daughter's baptism yesterday. In the lead up to it, my JustNoMil demanded to DH that DD needed to meet her side of the family, and my SGL had to meet DD. SGL is restricted access before 6-month vaccinations as she refuses to get vaccinated and is very anti-medicine. MIL demanded we come over on Christmas so SGL could meet her, which wasn't even 5 months old because my brother and his wife, BW, met DD. Anyway, we didn't do anything that MIL wanted. We let her help my parents with the after party. My parents were hosting. MIL wanted to organize drinks. She left it to last minute, needed a reminder phone call, and said, "But your mom didn't call and say what she wanted, like she needed her hand held. Needed us to tell her what to buy?" I blatantly told her I wouldn't be there when she dropped off the drinks. Like, why would I be there? And then proceeded to tell us we needed to tell her what to get DD as a gift. I asked DH if his mom was capable of doing anything with initiative. She also didn't buy any soft drink, soda for Americans, only alcohol. So day of baptism. Asked DH who the godparents were. DH told her he had told her multiple times and asked if she bothered listening. Her family as expected came to me first, not MIL, and were incredibly respectful and kind. Again, as expected, MIL was sour, she wasn't there to control the narrative. At the after party, MIL was sour that her family were happy for me to come and go with DD, and they couldn't take her because DD wanted me. Her family literally didn't even ask for a hold because they saw DD clinging to me and were happy with smiles from where DD felt safe. Also, they didn't talk much about DD, and we had normal adult conversations, which I love. MIL also wasn't happy her own sister was busy with her own grandchildren. Sulked through the baptism ceremony. Faced with subtitles, if you will. Estelle didn't attend baptism ceremony or after party, which was 100 meters from their house. My parents and ILs live on the same street by coincidence. MIL said Estelle couldn't make it because she hurt her back and couldn't sit or lie down. I said she could walk down to the house, and MIL changed the tune to she can't stand or walk or move. Estelle is becoming agoraphobic and has now stopped working and refusing to leave house. Back injury is suddenly a 20-year-old injury from when she was 10, and the story keeps changing. And she refuses to see anyone about it. DH gets lectured about accommodating SIL, who is the golden child. FL was beautifully amazing as always and made sure I ate, was out of the sun, and was doing well. DD was attached to hip due to stranger danger peak period. DD exceeded expectations by crying in photos with MIL standing next to her and refused to look at camera. Mom chewed out wife for not enjoying B-Day party that she didn't want or ask for. Hey everyone, just found this sub, and I thought I'd add my own horror story about my mom. My mom comes from a family of genuine hillbillies. They're nice enough people, but every single time there is some kind of family get-together, it turns into a wild, loud, obnoxious party. That wouldn't bother me so much if we weren't the only ones who had young kids, a 4- and 2-year-old who are uncomfortable when my family gets in their faces, picks them up, passes them around, and smothers them with love. We've had to learn that during family get-togethers, we either need to be on guard for the kids or just not go at all. What's more is that every time we have one of these family get-togethers, they happen at my mom and dad's house. My dad owns a relatively successful construction business and they live well. Big house, pool, cushy backyard, etc. So naturally, mom wants to show off all of her stuff, even though she does nothing to contribute to my dad's success, by always hosting parties at her house. Last summer, my 31M, mom asked me what my very introverted wife, 32F, wanted to do for her birthday. Since my mom has always had the tendency to overdo things, I told her, oh, nothing big. Maybe just getting together with you, dad and my brother, and having a nice quiet dinner. I didn't think it was an unreasonable request whatsoever, and my mom even said, good idea. We decided that following Saturday night was a good night for everyone, and that was that. The date was set, and we made plans to go over the following week to enjoy a nice little birthday dinner for my wife. Saturday comes, and my dad calls me on my way over to their house. Hey son, just want to give you a heads up, mom invited the whole family over. The whole family. Great. Not a big deal, we thought. It's her house, and we get along with family well enough. Just need to advocate for our kids, but they'll be fine. I was annoyed that my mom went beyond what I requested, because what's even the point in asking if you're going to do that? But we shrugged it off and continued on our way over. When we got there, it seemed as though the rest of the family had been pre-gaming for a good couple hours. We walked into quite the greeting. "Happy birthday," my already awkward and now drunk uncle slurred out of his mouth as he came up to my wife, attempting to kiss her on the lips. We put our stuff down and went out to the pool. Our kids love to swim, and they immediately wanted to jump in the water. Being as it would have been incredibly irresponsible to leave our kids unattended in a pool, we stayed by them, sitting down at the edge of the pool with our legs in the water. People would come up to us and wish her a happy birthday, talk for a little bit, then walk away. After about an hour of this, my mom came up to us and said, "Are you guys going to hang out with anyone but yourselves today?" "Mom, we're watching Kid 1 and Kid 2. I responded. She said, "You need both of you to do that? Your whole family is here to celebrate, wife. Do you think that maybe one of you could mingle?" Apparently, I became visibly aggravated by that statement, because my precious, peacekeeping angel of a wife looked at me and said, "It's fine. Just get up and go hang out with people for a few minutes. I'll stay here with the kids, then come back and we can switch." My mom stood there and waited for me to comply. Not wanting to create drama, I got up and did what my wife suggested. I went into the living room and grabbed a drink. My dad and brother were in the kitchen, getting things ready for our dinner, so I decided to also help out. After a few minutes, I get a text from my father-in-law. Now, my FL is an amazing guy. I'm really close with him and have a lot of respect for him. He's helped me navigate through a lot of my own family drama and has taught me how to keep my overbearing mother at arm's length. He's also an amazing cook and will host his own family dinners on Saturday nights. On this particular day, decided to go crazy on his barbecue. Smoked brisket, chicken, bacon-wrapped jalapeno poppers, just a feast. The only reason why I know this is because he took a picture of everything he was making and sent it to me. When I opened the text, my dad looked over at my phone and said, "Is that FIL's house?" I laughed and said, "Yeah, he went off on the barbecue." My dad jokingly goes, "Man, I bet you wish you guys were there instead of here." "Yeah, because why would they want to be here?" I heard coming from behind me. It was Mom. "It's not like I threw this whole party for your wife," she said. "Oh, stop it," I said to her. "We're just joking around." FL barbecued a bunch of meat and just wanted to show me. She stormed off dramatically enough for everyone in the vicinity to notice. "She's fine. Just leave her alone," my dad told me. About 20 minutes go by, and I tell my dad that I'm going to go relieve my wife from kid duty. When I walk outside, I notice that my kids are still playing in the pool, but my wife isn't watching them. My SL is. I walk up to her and say, "Hey, where did wife go?" She responded with, "Your mom wanted to talk to her." Oh boy, here we go, I thought. I searched around the property for them and found them on the side yard. My mom had anger in her eyes, and my wife was standing there, crying. Me, W. Choe. What is going on? "Mom, tell your wife that she needs to dry her little eyes and go back to the party. Everyone is here to celebrate her, and she is being a drama queen." Me, "Excuse me, you don't get to talk to my wife that way." "Mom, I will talk to whoever I want however I want in my own house, especially when I throw them a big party like this." Me, "Mom, we didn't even ask for this. I told you I wanted to do a small family dinner, not a huge family reunion." "Mom, you have never appreciated anything I've ever done. Stop crying, wife." Me, "Okay, we're leaving." And that is precisely what we did. I told my wife to go wait in our car and lock the door. I got my kids out of the pool, dried them off, packed our bags, and left. Later that week, I got a phone call from my mom. She apologized for her behavior and fully admitted that she was at fault. She told me that the day of, she was stressed out because the party got bigger than she had intended. Not really sure how you can unintentionally invite people over, but whatever. I took it at face value. I told her that I forgive her, but that she needed to call my wife and apologize to her. So she called my wife the following day while I was at work. My wife called me bawling, saying that when my mom called her, she didn't apologize at all, but instead demanded that my wife apologize to her for embarrassing her at her own house. After that, I decided enough was enough. I no longer have much of a relationship with my mom. She sees us a couple times a year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and kid one's birthday. But other than that, my kids are growing up without really knowing their dad's mom. It's unfortunate, but we both decided that we cannot let that behavior be excused. Since then, I've had extensive conversations with my dad. He's learned over the last year how my mom has narcissistic tendencies and has even talked about divorce. Apparently, this has been a recurring problem for him over the last 2 years, and it seems to be getting worse. According to him, since we've been having kids, my mom has felt more and more that she owed something. His exact words were, "Your mom feels like she is owed honor and respect now that you have kids." He doesn't defend her, just relayed what she has said to him. And that is my crazy mom story. MIL said posting maternity pics could kill my unborn son. This woman is batshit crazy. She's always been crazy, but it's gotten worse since we announced my pregnancy. She truly thinks this is her second-born son. I'm just incubating and birthing him. She constantly tells me what to eat, what exercises I can do, when I need to check my blood pressure, and how I need to have her there when he's born because I won't be able to take care of him without her, according to her. She requested we send her a gift for becoming a new grandma and completely ignored my baby shower invite. Only sent her one to avoid the stress of her reaction if we didn't. We announced the pregnancy to most of our friends and co-workers pretty early on because we knew they'd be supportive regardless. They also knew I struggled with fertility issues and I wanted some support in the early weeks. We waited to tell family until the 14-week mark. We didn't trust either of our parents to keep it quiet, so we only told them when we were comfortable with everyone knowing. My ML immediately told us we can't tell anyone that we are expecting. She's superstitious and thought this would be bad luck for the baby. We obviously ignored her as they were the last to find out anyway. I shook my head, said whatever, and brushed it off. My husband told her that we were telling whoever we wanted, and it wasn't up to her. Fast forward to today. I'm 32 weeks pregnant, and we got our maternity photos back. I've been feeling so ugly for the past 8 months, and I finally felt beautiful after seeing them. We have family and friends all over the world that we wanted to share them with and decided to post them on social media. I am so excited, getting the kindest messages from family and friends who are just sharing the joy of our soon-to-be son. While this is happening, my ML calls my husband and starts pleading with him to take down the pictures. She is hysterical, in tears saying we didn't listen to her with not announcing my pregnancy, and now if we post my maternity pictures, it could kill the baby, or something terrible would happen to him that we would have to explain to everyone. He told her no, again, and rushed her off of the phone. Maybe I'm hormonal and emotional, but it really upset me that we had something we were just enjoying and excited over, and she had to call and ruin it. I'm not necessarily looking for advice. I know she's crazy, husband knows she's crazy, and she ignores boundaries. I guess any words of encouragement or solidarity would be nice. I've been an emotional roller coaster lately and didn't need to hear that me sharing photos would kill my baby. Edit. Thankfully, MIL lives across the country, and I made it clear that I will call hospital security if she shows up. Husband is extremely low contact with her, and I'm proud of him for that. But it took him years to get there. I think we'll both eventually be NC, but he's just not there yet. I finally did it. Tonight, I laid down the law with my MIL. My DH and I have made a rule of no posting our kids' faces on social media, and she has repeatedly ignored our rule. She also constantly tells neighbors and distant family members about our children's health, and if they ever get sick. The breaking point has been my newborn getting RSV and her broadcasting it to distant aunts and neighbors who I've literally never met, treating him being sick like a hot gossip topic. I called her and let her know that if her and FIL couldn't respect and follow boundaries, that they would not have a relationship with me or my children. She then said I was threatening her. I stood my ground and told her I wasn't threatening her, but simply letting her know what would happen if she continues to not listen. She also asked me to have grace, which I said I would absolutely not have grace when it comes to my kids and keeping them safe. She then hung up the phone and is now pouting. This is a very condensed version of the call, but you get the point. I'm just so proud of myself. I've come a long way to be able to do this. I've realized, especially with having kids, that it's my job to keep them safe and to also show them what it looks like to have healthy relationships. I should also add that my husband has been amazing at setting boundaries. His mom is just really good at manipulating him, and he is in therapy learning how to realize when that is happening and how to not let her downplay his feelings. My ex is now engaged to the woman that his mother would always bring up during our relationship. Hi friends, it's been a few years since I've posted on here, and I'm sending strength to everyone who's still in the thick of it. You guys are soldiers. I'm all too familiar with this subreddit because I dated a man for a few years who had an incredibly controlling mother. She made us cancel trips because I was pulling her son away from the family, physically threatened me, would sleep in her son's perfectly preserved childhood bedroom instead of with her husband, and, because of her son's inability to stand up to her, ultimately contributed greatly to the demise of our relationship. One thing that she loved to do was tell her son that certain girls from his college were really cute and that he should get to know them. She would say these things in front of me. She really fixated on one girl in particular, who he barely knew while we were together. The only reason she even knew of this girl's existence was because she incessantly online stalked everyone from his university. We broke up a few years ago because of the tensions that she created in our relationship, and a few days ago, he posted his engagement photos to precisely the girl that his mom fixated on while we were together. I just thought that was so cosmically funny and fitting, and a reminder of the person that she is, the puppet that my ex is, and the life that I escaped. Whenever I would post about her on here in the past, you would all tell me to get out. You were right. The levels of stress that she caused me were deeply unhealthy. I'm currently dating a great guy whose parents are so normal, well-adjusted, and respectful. It gets better, guys. Sending my love. My mom thinks I should have my second baby on my daughter's birthday. I'm pregnant again, yay. And I'm due on my daughter's birthday. I immediately said no, and told my OBGYN that under no terms can I do that to my firstborn. I'm scheduled for a C-section anyways, so they had no problem notating that it cannot be that day, but the week before was just fine. My insane mother thought it was great if they shared a birthday. Everyone in my family thought it was a horrible idea and commended me for being proactive to do what I can to not have them the same. Insane mother. Oh, they would be close. Me? That's not a guarantee. I am, but firstborn's birthday is so perfect. So will this one's. I am, but then you can throw one party. That's selfish. They should each get their own party. Also, a birthday for an 11-year-old is very different than a 14-year-old's. I still think it would be nice for people to only come out one for both. Do you think that the feelings of family or friends are more important than the birthday girls? Your granddaughters? They can just share. They already have to share their mother, the house, their things, their lives with each other. Can't they have one thing that most people get to themselves? You intend them to share their birthday too. Sighs impatiently. I think it would just be lovely. I think it's selfish and cruel. Everyone gets one day to celebrate them every year. Don't take that away from my babies. There will be no forced joint birthdays on my watch. If one had a birthday in June and one had a birthday in December, you would have no problem celebrating them separately, like every other person. But just because they will be close in date, you want to deprive them of their special day? Absolutely not. I'm just saying I think it would be nice dash. And I'm saying that I think this year we should celebrate our birthdays together. We are only 3 weeks apart, and it's such a busy time on the year. Wouldn't that be lovely? Knowing my mother is very selfish and prideful when it comes to celebrating her, it made her pucker her lips and remain quiet the rest of the visit. I doubt that this is the end of the argument, but at least I have the power. Emile had no help when she raised her son. Oh, apart from the nanny. This story always makes me laugh, because if I didn't laugh, I'd scream. So I thought I'd share the insanity. Before we had our babies, Emile frequently would mention how she had no help at all with raising DH, as both her parents had passed before he was born. DH never stayed at his other grandparents' house, and they didn't babysit. Yet, in-laws' social life was unchanged. They just brought him with them everywhere, and it was fine. DH slept on the bench seat in the restaurant while in-laws were with their friends. Parents these days are too controlling. Kids need to adapt to your lifestyle, not the other way around. All you have to do is put them in their PJs before you go out. Have you thought of that? The truth? The grandparents didn't give any practical help, but it wasn't really needed because Mill had a full-time nanny. Don't get me wrong, I'd love a nanny/au pair, but that is a whole lot of support right there, especially as MIL didn't work. As for taking DH to restaurants as a child, she was telling my lovely friend this story. Lovely friend asked for details. Wow, that's great. How old was he? Did he ever have a tantrum? Did he eat dinner in the restaurant, or did you feed him beforehand? If he ate in the restaurant, did you have to go early? Did you bring toys or books to entertain him? What if there were no bench seats where he could lie down? Emile was flustered and struggled to answer, probably because she's either forgotten how hard it is taking a toddler to a restaurant, or, more likely, it never happened. Just to clarify, I know you can take your child out, but it requires planning. You bring entertainment, you work with their schedules, keep the meal to a realistic length for a toddler, preferably in a child-friendly venue. What Emile is talking about is just bathing your child, bringing out to dinner, and having them sleep in the restaurant while the adults eat and drink until midnight. I'm still unclear if the child eats. The worst bit is DH believed her, until our friends started having kids, and we had our babies, then reality set in. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.